XJ Talk Show.
It's on.
Now.
Welcome to xjtalk.com. Wow, it doesn't sound like the lips are working today. My name is Tony Muckleroy on xjtalk.com. This is the talk show brought to you by xjtalk.com about Jeep Cherokees and, you know, stuff as we think of it, or I think of it, or I guess people that say things in the chat room think of it. We got several people in the chat room tonight. If you're listening to the podcast or watching the show via YouTube or Ustream, you should try joining us on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time for the live show. Get you an account on Ustream.tv so you can join in on the fun that is in the chat room. If you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, then you for sure need to come to a live show, because it's fun interacting with the guys and the girls, if there are girls there. So we'll get started here in just a minute.
Hey, sweetness.
This segment brought to you by DetoursUSA.com. 10 years of innovating, not imitating XJ products. Check out www.DetoursUSA.com. And Detours wants to remind everyone to practice safe sex. No pig borking till you wrap that rascal. You know, when I first started doing the podcast, I was having problems talking, and one of the reasons for that was I've been married for 19 years, and I'm learning how to talk again. So I notice every time I play that commercial that I say borking, which I guess technically is better than porking. So I need to re-record that, but maybe nobody notices it but me. This segment brought to you by DetoursUSA.com. 10 years of innovating, not imitating XJ products. Check out www.DetoursUSA.com. And Detours wants to remind everyone to practice safe sex. No pig borking till you wrap that rascal. I love that. Of course I did it, so, you know, I don't know. I guess maybe that's just, patting myself on the back. Maybe too much. Hey, how would you like to advertise on XJ Talk Show and reach a worldwide Jeep audience? Just send an email to advertise@xjtalk.com for more information.
xjtalk.com.
xjtalk.com.
It's where you go when you're not off-road.
Okay, guys, this is going to be another one of those live shows that has call-ins. If you want to call in, anybody is welcome to give me a call. You can see the number on the screen if you're watching the Ustream live feed. If not, for example, I know there's some people listening on their Androids today. You can give me a call at 530-675-4102. 530-675-4102. If it rings, just let it ring. I'll pick it up as soon as I can, and keep in mind, one line, if somebody's talking on the phone to me, it's going to be busy, or actually I guess it'll just take you to voicemail. So don't call unless I say the line's open, unless you want to talk to voicemail, and then it's perfectly fine. So figure we just chat a little bit here today. We have several past questions that people have sent in. And that does remind me, if you would like to have your question played on the show and hopefully answered correctly, answered on the show, then you can call the same number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and nobody will actually answer during the normal time like that when it's normally set up just for voicemail. It'll take you straight to voicemail. You can leave your question, and I just ask that you say who you are, where you're from, and ask your question. And then we'll play it here on the show and answer it on the show. Yep, the lips are having problems. So let me see who we have here in the chat room. There's Dalton 4x4, Detours, East Texas Hunter. Good God, why do people do this? IMEHTOH. Is that some sort of Egyptian thing, or is it some clever synonym syllable thing that I can't figure out because I'm not simple enough or too simple? Hot them I backwards. Hot them I. Okay. Hot Hemi. Thank you. It's Hot Hemi backwards. Yep, that's kind of like Oprah's name, isn't it? Anyway, there's Outlaw XJ, Punisher 72, and Rugged One. See, that's the one that gets me. It's RUGIDONE. And I think the first 2 or 3 times I tried to say it here on the show, I think I got Rug I Done. I had no idea. It had to be spelled phonetically for me in the chat room. So, so there we go. You know, I learned that, or didn't learn that when I was reading stories, specifically novels. It used to drive me insane because I guess the author or somebody was just trying to be clever and come up with these weird, unusual names. And I think it's meant to impress people that read a lot of books or people that write a lot of books. I think it's really the last one. And they come up with these strange, off-the-wall names, and I lose the plot because I can't remember who's doing what. Buddy of mine told me that he has, a much smarter buddy, told me he has the same problem, and what he does is he just makes up names. So whenever he sees that name he doesn't know and can't pronounce, he calls them Bubba or Charlie or Gladys or, you know, whatever, a Pip, you know, just whatever. And I had not thought of that. That probably would be a good thing to do. But I find reading novels, especially good novels, really ruins the motion picture. So I'd just rather wait for the motion picture. It really does. There's a lot of good books out there, and I'm very bad about reading books because I'm much more used to watching television or movies, and I want to do a book like I would a movie. I have to be done with it in 2-4 hours, so on and so forth. But it is much more interesting than any movie that I've seen. Probably Lord of the Rings came close to giving enough detail to really make it interesting. Although I've never read any of the Lord of the Rings books. I just read The Hobbit, so I'm just comparing the Lord of the Rings movies to The Hobbit. And I guess those Lord of the Ring movies probably equals one Hobbit book. At any rate, this has nothing to do with Jeep Cherokees. But the show is not just about Jeep Cherokees. Anyway, let me throw something out there. I posted earlier today on xjtalk.com that I was thinking about, and I have been thinking. I think about doing a lot of different things to my Jeep Cherokee. And one of the things I thought would be really cool, probably not so practical, but cool, would be to make those little rings that go around the lights, so that whenever you're driving down the road during the day or towards dusk, you have these little rings on that like an outline around the headlight, and it looks cool. And I was asking the guys, hey, what's your opinion of this? Because it could be seen as kind of cheesy. The reason why I ask is that I had gone online and looked, and somebody had an idea of going up to one of these home improvement stores and getting a window blind rod, because I think they just sell the rods. They're plastic, and you take a heat gun and you heat up where you want to bend it, and then you very carefully heat it and bend it, heat it and bend it, heat it and bend it. So they were actually doing it for a circular headlight, but I figured that it could be done on a rectangular headlight. I guess just have to try it and see. But then you just take the two ends after they meet, and cut a gap in there wide enough where you can point a couple of LEDs down both sides. And then what that does is it works much like fiber optic does. The light bounces back and forth inside the plastic tube, lighting the plastic tube. Actually, I think that they cut little notches in it so that it caused an interference with the light and it would light up. And, the price of a couple of LEDs, the price of a blind, those plastic things you turn to open and close the blinds, gosh, it's just really cheap. And LEDs, hooking it up to a 12-volt source, putting a couple of drop resistors in there, it should be fairly simple. And LEDs are so bright. Of course, you could have any color you like. Technically, I think red, which is my favorite color, would be... There's Wayne. Wayne says in the chat room, really gay. They're not politically correct in New Zealand. Anyway, red being my favorite color, that would be really cool to have a little red ring around the rectangular light. And also, too, I don't think there's any rectangular light halos or angel lights that they're for the headlights. But you're not supposed to be able to... You can have red lights as long as they're not directly visible, in Texas anyway, as long as they're not directly visible to somebody driving down the road. So I think technically those would be illegal. Making them flash on and off probably would be exceedingly illegal. So let's see, what do we have here? We've got call Wayne, please. Detour says, I'm embarrassed to be here. He's drinking again. This is kind of what I was getting from some of the folks on the site. Is that it's I think it was Mark with Payless 4x4 four-wheel drive. A vendor on XJ Talk says that he doesn't know about Texas, but in California nobody would go off road with me. Basically, nobody would go wheel with me. So anyway, I guess that was a bad idea, but it's like one of those things where you figured out how to do it. You think you can do it and do it just as good as what you see some of these $300 solutions or on these luxury cars that are probably even more than that as an add-on. And it'd be cool just to do it to see how it turned out. But my wife's car doesn't have the type headlights that it would work with, so I can't even try it on hers. It probably would be a little more appropriate on her Mustang than it would be my Jeep. Although I could do it to the KC lights, I could because it's circular, Outlaw XJ says only at the mall, Tony. Hey man, I would be badass at the mall. I'm going to take the Jeep out there to the local mall, and I'm gonna get some shots with it up on the little median and on the what do you call those barriers? Those concrete barriers. Wayne says, "Stop it! I just threw up." Yeah, I told Wayne the other night, or actually, I told somebody who was asking about the earthquakes in Christchurch. They were asking Wayne how the if it had settled down, and I said. The tremors are so bad in Christchurch that when Wayne goes to pee, he stops shaking. He just waits. Ba-dum-bum. Anybody get that joke? Is this thing on? Yep, there's stunned silence in the chat room. Drip dry. Okay. So another thing I had noticed, I was online with Amazon.com looking at some of the stuff that I've been wanting to get, and one of the things I had been looking at was a boom for this microphone. Right now I've got it set on a stand, and it's okay. I have to kind of lean into where the microphone is, pull it to a certain spot, and I have to keep it there. I can't move around. I have to stay right here. And I thought it'd be really nice to have a boom for the mic that attaches to the desk, and then that way it's actually silent and you can't hear it. I could actually move it around and still be able to talk. So anyway, I was on there pricing the boom, the mic boom, and I noticed that the VIAIR 2.5 gallon, 150 psi, maybe it's a 200 psi air tank, had dropped in price significantly, and I'm really tempted really tempted to go ahead and order that thing because I want to hook up an air horn to my Jeep. And this isn't going to be put on a poll on the site. I'm not going to say, do you think this is a good idea or not? I know it's a good idea. It's a damn good idea. I am so sick and tired of people in the fast lane talking on their cell phones, going either below the speed limit or the speed limit, poking along. They'll drift into other lanes. They're not paying attention to what the hell they're doing, and I want to wake their ass up. And I think people on the site have talked me into getting a train whistle, like a 130 decibel train whistle. I really wanted a air horn that sounded a lot like an 18-wheeler, but watching some of the YouTube videos with the guys with the train whistles, train horn, thank you. I think I'm going to go with the train horn. I'm just going to go with the sheer volume because I want to wake their ass up. So anyway, I figured what I could do is get this air tank, mount it underneath the XJ on the driver's side between the unibody frame and the drive shaft. It's not that wide. I've seen it. I was trying to find the installation of this VIAIR 2.5 gallon tank because it's kind of long and skinny. And I was trying to find a picture of this because I had actually seen it installed on an XJ somewhere on some site. And I just wanted to verify it before I ordered the tank. But I think this tank was like $75 or $85 before. But they've got it on Amazon for $65. And it qualifies for free shipping. So you can get this 2.5 gallon tank. Anyway, what I was going to do was I was going to get this 2.5 gallon tank. And I really don't have the money for the air compressor right now. So I figured what I'd do. So I figured, Detour says buy a train set. No, I'm not going to move on. I'm putting an air horn on my Jeep because I'm going to scare the out of some people and get them the hell out of the way. Anyway, so I'm going to get the 2.5 gallon air tank. Maybe not right now. I'm tempted because of the $65, but I'm going to get that tank and then I'm going to route a hose up to where I can air it up with with my compressor here at the house. And I think what I'll do, I'll have to double check and make sure that there's enough room, but I think I put the fitting under the gas cap, the little door on the side. That way I can open the gas cap door and pressure up the tank there. I just need to figure out a way so that I can monitor what the air pressure in the tank is. So then I'll just keep the pressure in the tank that way, and I'll run the air horn because I'm not planning on using the air horn a lot because I think technically it's illegal. So I'll have to be careful about, it's like driving fast. You need to be careful where you're doing it. You don't want to get a ticket. And then hook up the air horn, the train horn. And then I've got to get it positioned well enough under the hood. So of course it's hidden, and it's no fun if they know it's coming, So then I'll run the air horn off the tank, and then I'll just have to air up the tank at the house as it needs it. Now, what would really be cool would be to have a air tank, have a gauge in the cab so that I could see what the pressure on the tank was. But now you're starting to talk about a couple of gauges where you have to have the gauge here, you have to have the gauge back where you're filling it, yada, 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 yada. I don't know. There may be a way I can just, I'll have to look into it. Maybe there's a way I can put a valve on it, and then I just fill it up, and then whenever the valve opens, I start hearing the air drain off. I know that it's hit the PSI, the maximum PSI that I've got that valve set for. That would probably be the easiest way. And then maybe put the gauge up front someplace. Wayne says, "Hey, Tony." What's up, Wayne? Okay, well, I guess he didn't have anything to say. East Texas Hunter says, mount it high so you don't get mud on it. Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to get mud on it. With where I was talking about mounting it, there's really not much else that I can. I thought about putting it up above the rear differential. I've seen it mounted up there, but I think where I was talking about is probably going to be the best place for it. But anyway, ultimately I'll get an air compressor and hook it up, and then I'll have onboard air. I'll have a way to refill the tank away from the house, and then I'll also have a source to run the train horn. And I think that it'd be a really good way, or a really good YouTube video or two. All I've got to do is just have the telephone set up and ready to go whenever I go to honk at somebody to get them out of the way. It should be interesting, and I think even if I do get pulled over, the cop will probably have a pretty good laugh when I explain to him why I want people out of the fast lane or off the phone. Just looking here at the chat room. Yeah, if you guys want to call in, just give me a call. I think I got everything set up right. So you can either call on the phone line or Skype. Yep, got Skype on. So as you can see on the screen, Skype is xjtalk.com, and the number for the regular old landline is 530-675-4102. So we got a call, and let's see who's calling. Hey, this is
Outlaw.
Tony. Who we got?
Hey, Tony, this is Outlaw.
Hey, Outlaw, how you doing? Thanks for calling in.
I just wanted to let you know that by popular demand, I'm calling in to stop the horn and LED light conversation.
the LED light or the air tank?
Both.
This is good to know, because I know now all I have to do is find something boring to talk about, and I'll get some people to call in. I'd much rather have people call in and share the talking.
Well, let Dalton know that he owes me some money.
Are we talking serious money here, or just chump change?
I don't know. He just said he was going to pay somebody, so I figured I'd dial the phone.
So I forgot to mention, don't forget you need to turn down your computer, because you'll hear a hell of an echo between when this is sent out and when you hear it.
Yes, I figured that out with the headset on. That was amazing hearing myself talk.
Yeah, it's worse than the 7-second delays they have on radio stations, because it could really be anything with the internet. You never know how long a delay it's going to be.
Well, I do have a question for you, or for everybody, I guess.
Yeah, ask everybody, please.
I recently started a new career, so I've been working 60-plus hours a week, so I haven't been on enough to do any searching, but I have some really, really saggy leaf springs in the rear, and I wanted to know what sort of pack would get me close to 6 inches so I can take these stupid aluminum blocks out from underneath.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done the blocks on a Cherokee, but I hear it's a really bad thing to do, because you can get leaf wrap, and I think you can actually break or break the pinion, or break the where the drive shaft ties into the yoke. So yeah, it's a bad thing. Actually, Dalton posted some what was it, Dalton? Junkyard finds, or junkyard do-it-yourself parts for all kinds of things, wasn't it? I think it's a sticky. What do you remember what it was called, Dalton? Or even what forum it was in? Forum or section?
I think I had seen it before. I just, like I said, I've been no day off for the last 4 weeks and 60-plus hours, so.
Well, congratulations on the new job, and it's great hearing that there's plenty of work for you to be doing. I'm hoping the economy's getting a little better.
You don't know. I need more parts for my Jeep.
Well, Dalton's going to have a look, and then we'll come right back to that. I'm pretty sure the S10 leaves will work, and it seems to me that the what was it? I want to say Yukon, but that's not right. Anyway, Dalton will look it up, and he'll come back to us. So, what else is going on? New job, saggy springs.
Death wobble from hell.
Oh no!
That's being corrected. I got a new pitman arm on the way. New pitman arm, and I'm ordering a track bar from Ironman Andy. Of course, I talked about that a couple weeks ago, but with the new job and everything, I'll be able to afford that now. Yeah, you're kind of
fading in and out. So talk right into the phone for us.
I found out that when I purchased the Jeep, the guy put 6 inches of lift on it and had lower control arms and upper control arms for a 3-inch lift, so
Oh, no.
that's half of the death wobble problem. So I'm basically turning on a radius or on an arc. So I drive about 40 miles an hour with that big stinker bumper on my front end, and people just get out of my way when they see the tires start to wobble back and forth.
He's crazy. Get out of his way.
Yeah. About the same effect as an air horn, except they have to see it before they move.
Yeah, but I think the air horn has some significance as this person's in control. You see those? What size tires do you have on there?
34, 10, 50, 15 LTDs.
He sees big tires wobbling in front of you. I think it has more of an impact.
Yeah. Especially the blue hairs when they drive in front of me. They tend to just move right over. It's kind of cool.
Dalton, do that link again because that was removed. I turned it on so that you can post the link. Yeah, it's thread 5646 is what shows that. Actually, I can call that up real quick and just tell you. Yeah, suspension and lift. So you need leaf springs because those are saggy. Let's see, what have we got here? Those are coils. Yeah, S10 pickup or blazer, leaf packs. Cut off the S10 main bolt pack under XJ main. 3 to 4 inches of lift may require use of degree shims. So, yeah, I think Dalton was telling me that you don't actually, and I think this is what he's going to be doing this Saturday, is, Dalton, you're going to be using the S10 leaf springs on yours, right? To make your own backpack? Well, yeah, that's right. I think you said a 6-inch lift, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is only 3 to 4 inches of lift.
Yeah, I was hoping that there was some sort of backpack. I mean, I can order new leaves if I need to, but I'm just trying to keep the cost down.
Mm-hmm. Dalton,
so I can break stuff easier.
Yeah, Dalton, you're using the standard or the stock shackles on your pack, right? In other words, you're not going to put longer ones. Okay, so what you can do is you can probably get out of this still pretty cheap by doing the S10 leaf packs and then adding them to the bottom of your XJ leaves, and then that'll give you 3 to 4 inches of lift, and then you can get either the rough country shackles. They're adjustable. Whenever you use them with the 4.5 inch shackles from rough country, it gives you 5.5 or 6.5 inches of lift. And so if you have 4-inch lift, really 4-inch lift out of this Baster pack, then you should be able to go 5 or 6 inches with it. And I think those are like $50. Those shackles from rough country are $50. And of course, we have a vendor on site that sells those, fourwheelingplus.com. Ron, you can contact Ron and get those. Now, Andy at ironman4x4fab.com has some adjustable shackles that cost more, but they're really, really tough, and I think you can get more out of them than a couple of inches. I think they're 3 or 4 inches. They're like a big screw, and you can just unscrew them. And the nice thing about it is you can actually adjust if one side is lower than the other or higher, you can adjust them independently. Right. Whereas with the rough countries, you just got bolt holes, and you get the same on both sides. And I think that if you're dealing with new leaf springs, you probably don't have to worry about that so much. But maybe with the back, you might be more concerned about it being level across the back. I guess it really just depends on the wear of the S10 leaves that you're putting on.
Well, here's another good question for you.
Okay.
The rear axle, when I look at it from, say, the right rear quarter, if I'm behind it on the right rear, and I look at it, it looks like the right rear tire is sitting back farther in the wheel well than the left rear tire. The left rear tire looks like it's sitting more forward. It's 6 inches of lift for detours.
6 inches, Mark.
No, I don't have 6 inches, Dalton. That's what my lift is. I wish I was 6 inches. That'd be amazing.
Just looking at some of the stuff that Wayne... I'm going to make somebody a moderator here in a second. All right. Anyway. Yeah, there's a way. There's a way to measure that. There's a way to measure that, and guys, where would he measure from? Would it be from the front axle, or could he measure between where the leaf spring on is bolted on to the front bolt back to the center of the wheel to see if his axle is centered under his Cherokee? I don't think anybody was paying attention.
I think they're still stuck on the white man special.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole idea is for everybody to enjoy themselves here in the show. I figured somebody's going to be paying attention occasionally to the show, and not just what's going on in the chat room. So we got a man here that needs some help. He's wanting to know. He says it looks like his axle is not. It's not centered in the wheel well on one side. And the other looks like, I'm assuming one side looks fine, the other side looks like it's back too far or too...
right, the right rear looks like it's sitting back way too far.
So where would he measure from to see if the rear axle is sitting straight under the XJ? How would he be able to tell that? And of course, I'm assuming that you haven't broken. I guess you've already checked to see if the pin is still sticking up through the from the leaf. Because according,
it's still there.
Okay, because according to Steve, he was saying those things will break pretty easy when they get old.
Well, they're flat now, so.
Well, the bolt, the centering bolt should still be sticking up through there.
I'll double check on that tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure it's still there. I've actually got the Jeep parked at the shop right now.
Have you had anybody drive behind you and see if you're doing that little dog leg thing maneuver where the rear?
Oh yeah, it crab walks like you wouldn't believe. But
okay,
most of that is from the giant boulder on the right side rocker panel that went up into it because I don't have rock sliders. You can all cuss me later.
Okay, so maybe are you thinking that the rock may have caused this problem?
Possibly, but I think it was like that before.
Okay. Yeah, Hot Hemi, I'm not going to say it the other way around. Hot Hemi says if you have blocks, one could have shifted.
All right.
I think you can measure from, if you take the wheel off and measure from where the leaf spring is where it attaches to the front of the I don't want to say the front of the XJ, but the front part of the leaf spring attaches to the body. Measure from the center of that bolt hole to the middle of your axle on both sides. And I think that would give you a good point of reference to measure from and measure to, and then you'll be able to tell how far off you are. And I mean, if you can eyeball it and tell that it's off, maybe you don't have to measure it. Maybe you just need to take the U-bolts off and see if that centering pin is broke off or something shifted or etc. But it's going to wear your tires funny too. I guess this isn't a daily driver.
No, it gets 9 miles.
And you've got what, standard 3.55 gears in it?
Yeah, welded in the rear.
Sounds like what Reenie's doing with his. And what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what. I don't think you said the actual size in inches of the tires. Are they 32, 33?
34, 10, 50, 15s. They're actually going to be 35s here shortly.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Man, yeah, you would probably see a big jump in your gas mileage if you went with 410s or 456 gears.
Yeah, I actually found some on a website. Let me see if I can pull that up. Because they had the wing and pinion gear for $146 plus shipping, which I thought was pretty darn good.
I got, I think mine were Precision or Superior. I have to go back and look. I've had real good luck with mine. It's really nice off-road. I barely have to give it gas to go up and over things. I mean, if I get into some bad mud, I have to give it some gas. But just going up over steep inclines, it's just loping along. It's very nice. It's very nice to have the low gears, and it's a lot more fun to drive too. Because even though I've got the larger tires on it, it still feels like it was. Like when I first bought it, it has a lot of pep, a lot of get up and go. It's a big different from the 355s.
On the 8 1/4, I think they start at well, if you don't mind me asking, what did your ring and pinion run?
I got the ring and pinion for the 8 1/4 and the Dana 30. I had to get a new carrier for the Dana 30. Because anything, I think the cutoff is 3.73, where you have to change carriers. And
right.
I got master rebuild kits for both Dana 30 and the 8 1/4. And it was, I think shipped, it was $510. And then when we were putting it in, found out that it did not come with the bearings that go on the 8 1/4 out where the wheels are. The wheel bearing, not wheel bearings, but the outside bearings. It came with the inside bearings where the diff is, but not the bearings on the out. And I thought, well, it's kind of silly to have all this thing torn apart and not change those. So the place I took it to, I said, yeah, go ahead and if you can, they could order them, and I think it was like $30 for those bearings. So we basically redid everything on the 8 1/4, and you reuse the axles, of course. But I mean, bearings, the bearings, all that stuff is basically new with the ring and pinion, and did the same thing with the Dana 30. And it took quite a while for him to do those gears, but I haven't had any problems with them. I've had a little bit of whining on the gears that you could just barely hear at low speed right after they were done, and I was concerned, but checked with the mechanic, and I checked around on various websites, and they said that can be pretty typical when you have a low gears like that. And I'm pretty happy. Right. I'm pretty happy that the with the 456, I think the 488 would have. I'm not sure if they were available for the 8 1/4 at the time, but I think the 488 would have been a lot worse because you start losing surface area for those things to make contact between the ring and the pinion. So I was kind of my long-term plan has always been to go with 33s. Then I started thinking about 35s. And I've kind of backed off of 35s now because of the stresses that it would put on the Dana 30.
Right.
Outer wheel bearings. Thank you.
So because I'm finding places that have like there's ringandpinion.com that has the set for 153. And that's in 456 gears for the 825.
Mm-hmm.
But it says something about necessary to grind pin for the C-clips, and USA standard gears are not recommended for quiet running vehicles, which I don't have to worry about because mine is louder than heard a bull coming down the road. Mm-hmm. Excuse my language.
We had to get the I don't know if you call it a pin, the screw that goes in there. We actually had to grind off some of the tooth off the ring to get that thing in. It was on the inside of the ring, so who knows? Maybe that's why it whined. But we couldn't get that little pin in. It's a threaded pin, so maybe it's just a long bolt. We couldn't get it in with the gears the way they were.
And does anybody know what the best gear ratio would be for 35s? I got an 8.5 rear axle and a 30 in the front.
You have an automatic transmission, right?
Yes.
According to what I was looking at, 456 would be just about stock. Would be just about stock gearing with 35 inch. And anybody else know if what the proper gearing would be for 35s? Big Jim 350 says he'd go with 488 on 35s. I guess it really matters. It really depends on whether or not it's a daily driver or if it's an off-road only.
All right, well, I'd like to make it a mix of both. I would like to make it a daily driver eventually, but I've got to get rid of that the ring and pinion that's in it now because it's welded, and that won't. It gets me 9 miles to the gallon with 34s on it.
Well, I think you're going to have to replace the. Do you know if it's a limited slip or if it's if it's just open? I guess it doesn't matter. It's welded. You're going to have to take that whatever it is and throw it out and replace it with something else. And the ring and pinion isn't welded. The ring and pinion, if the ring and pinion was welded, it wouldn't go anywhere. So,
no. I meant spider gears.
Yeah, spider gears. That's what I was trying to say. So you got to replace that, and I don't know that. Rini complains about gas mileage on his, and his is welded, so maybe it does make a difference. Well, he's got 355 gears. I was getting around 10 or 11 miles to the gallon with my 355 gears and 32-inch tires. And when I went to the 456 gears, it jumped up about 2.5 miles a gallon. So I run anywhere from high 11s to mid 13, like 13.5, 13.6, 13.7 miles per gallon.
Yeah, I don't know what gas is where everybody else is, but it just hit 3.67 a gallon here, so I'm not looking forward to paying $70 to fill up my XJ.
Wow. I'm sorry, different subject. Fireman Ray says, Tony, I've been working while listening. I have an air tank that holds 2250 psi. That's 2,250 pounds per square inch. With a regulator, this would blast that horn for a while. Yeah, I'm afraid that if I punctured that tank, it would blast the XJ as well.
Oh, wow. Wayne's got Vegemite. Oh, Lord.
The first time I heard Vegemite was in the that Australian group song. I can't remember what the name of the group is now.
Toto?
Say it again.
Talking about Toto?
No.
We come from the land down under?
Men at Work.
Men at Work.
Yeah, but it is that song. That was a funny song. A funny video too. That was back when MTV had videos, good videos.
Yeah,
Not necessarily good songs, but they were good videos. Cheap, very cheap videos. So anyway, that's where we are on those questions. Did you have anything else for us?
I don't think so. Well, I just want to know when Dalton's going to pay me.
Dalton, how much are you paying him for calling in? You know, the house gets a percentage.
Uh-oh.
Gosh, I should have waited until he said how much it was before, because now he can adjust it. I guess Dalton's busy doing something else. You know, I've got my screensaver is set for like 10 minutes or something, and I'm sitting here talking, enjoying the conversation, and every so often the screen goes blank on me because of its, the screensaver's coming on, and it freaks me out. It freaks me out every time. I'm thinking the power cut off, and you're right here in the middle of the show. So
you're going to pay me a compliment. I think that's what it says.
Well, look, man, thanks a lot for calling in. I always stay too long on these calls. I'm not very disciplined. I enjoy talking, having somebody to interface with me here on the show, but I want to jump off in case somebody else wants to call in before we run out of time. But
sounds like fun.
Yeah, thanks a lot for calling in, and if you're not posting pictures with all that stuff you're doing with your Jeep, please do. It sounds like somebody else is going to run across that same problem. They're going to have.
I will.
They're going to have that wheel. They're going to have that wheel back like that, and whatever you find possibly could help them. So, all you guys, don't forget to share. No matter how mundane you think it is, share with the problem and the solution, because that helps a lot of people and keeps them on the site, keeps them interested.
Well, I'll definitely post pictures of when I take my red Jeep and paint it green for you.
There you go. you know, karma will hurt you.
That's what I keep hearing. All right, Tony. Thanks for the talk, and thank you everybody for the advice.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right.
Bye bye. Okay, I think we had another call coming in. If you want to try that again, please do. It's 530-675-4102. All lines are open. Hey, this is Tony. Who do we have?
This is Dalton.
Hey, Dalton. Don't forget, turn down your computer. You're going to freak out.
I did.
I heard myself. That's how I remembered. So, Dalton, I asked you before the show started if, what was going to happen this week that was going to keep you from being able to do that lift, because I know you're really looking forward to lifting the Jeep.
Come hell or high water, it's going on.
Have you checked the weather report? I mean, I don't know if I'd say high water.
Slight chance.
There's a lot of things going on around the world right now, and, I would not put anything past it right now.
Just a slight chance of rain, that's all right.
Yeah, you don't actually have a covered place to work, do you? Because otherwise you would have already done it.
Yeah.
So what else is going on?
I'm going to Terrell's, and he's going to help me.
Cool. So what else is going on? You got all the parts you need?
Yep, it's all still sitting in the living room, in the bedroom.
Oh, man, your wife has got to be loving you.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me what you got. You got the S10 leaf springs.
I've got the S10 leaf springs. I've got a set of Rusty's 3-inch coils that I got from Rennie. Let's see, I got 1.5 inch coil spacers that I found on a Cherokee at the junkyard that had a Rubicon lift on it. I got those so I can get to the 4.5. I got a set of Rough Country lower control arms that I got from Matt. Let's see. I got my sway bar drop brackets, transfer case drop pieces, front and rear brand new shocks.
Oh, I forgot about the sway bar drops.
I did too until Terrell happened to mention it the other day, and Blue Dragon had come down a while back, and I met him, and he gave them to me, and I had forgot all about them.
I need to find the ones I took off, because I put the quick disconnects, the Rough Country quick disconnects on mine. I need to find those things. I forgot all about that because those are different than the stock ones. They're longer. That's right. Yeah, I'm actually getting almost enough parts to have another lift. I've got the longer disconnects. I've got the I've got the track bar drop. What are you doing for the geometry for the drag link and the track bar?
I'm going to do where you drill the hole and move it over.
Oh, okay. That should be pretty simple.
And my computer just shut off on me again.
Was it getting too hot?
I've got one of those pads under it. Evidently, it quit cooling.
Yeah, well, you definitely would rather have it. Wayne says, "No big words, Tony, please." Which word was it? Was it Wayne, or was it so foreign you can't even remember what it was? Yeah. Anyway, I was going to say you definitely want that thing shutting off instead of staying on and burning up, because then it's not going to come back on.
Oh yeah. It just keeps shutting off. Just let it sit here and cool down.
I have a Outlaw XJ says porn at that, because I don't know who started it, Big Jim or Wayne, going back and forth about this porn. I have a theory. Porn, people like porn or because it makes everything look so much bigger. It's kind of like one of those mirrors on the other side of the vehicle. Items may appear bigger than what they really are.
Well, it's that, and then you get to watching it and you see them little legs just a-kicking. I
wouldn't know, but it's interesting to hear. But it's interesting to hear anyway.
But yeah, I've got everything. It's all sitting right here, just ready to go in the Jeep Friday night. So I can wake up early Saturday morning.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, so you're going to start Friday night. That's kind of how I do things. I like to get going, especially when I think I might have problems. I was a little concerned about you getting those leaf springs off since you're in an area that gets snow, and of course snow begets salt. But you're not going to be taking the leaf springs off, which ought to really help you out.
No, I'm not taking the main off. The main will stay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Did you get anything? Because I told you about the squeaking that I had from my Adeleafs. Did you get any little pads or anything to go in between there to try to keep the squeaking down?
Right now, I've just got the pads that are on those, and the ones that are on the S10 leaves. I'm just going to use them and see if they work.
Okay. Well, you can always bust it down and fix it later. Well,
so far,
maybe that's not a big deal. Outlaw says his whole XJ squeaks.
Yeah, well, mine does too. But luckily, the leaf springs don't.
Yeah. Mine doesn't. It bothers me when I hear weird noises coming out of mine.
But right now, when I got it, my leaf springs had started sagging, and I bought another set at a junkyard. And went to put them on, and I got to looking. I said, well, the hell with it. I went ahead and put the whole XJ leaf pack under the already main spring I had. So instead of a 4-leaf, I've got a 5-leaf. And it actually raised the back end up probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches from the front, doing it that way. Believe it or not.
Yeah, that must be a real teeth jar, though. They must be really stiff.
Well, to me, I'm used to it, so...
Does anybody complain that rides with you?
Nobody rides with me.
You got a perfect situation, then.
Yep. And now that it's getting lifted, my wife says I'm doing it so she doesn't have to ride with me. But I told her I'd get her a little step stool and tie it to a rope. That way she could pull it out, step into the Jeep, grab the rope, pull the step stool back in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get the sliders. It'll be a nice stepping place for my wife. She gets in fine. The only time she complains is getting out, like if it's raining out, because she has to slide out, and the outside, the edge of the Jeep is wet, and it gets the back of her blue jeans wet.
Yeah, Wayne and Jim, they've been picking on me constantly about it. Like I told you earlier, I'm immune to the pain now. It don't bother me anymore.
Yeah, I don't see Renee in here. We'll have to figure out something to pay them back. We'll figure out some good trick to pull on them. Maybe get a recording of them crying like babes because we've twisted them so bad.
Well, it's like the nickname that they gave me, calling me hardcore. They've called it to me so long, it's kind of stuck now.
Sounds like you need to get a label, a sticker made for your Jeep called hardcore.
Honestly, I had thought about it. I'd actually gotten a stencil out and put the letters together and was going to spray paint it on there.
That's a good idea. Well, I sure am excited for you getting this lift on. It's probably the lift and the tires are probably the most exciting thing that you can do to any off-road vehicle, and even a performance street vehicle. No lift, of course, but the tires. There's always something about buying tires that is just the smell, the look. It changes the whole overall feel of the vehicle.
Right now, I have a set of Mastercraft Cursor AWT 311050s on there, and they don't have the big aggressive treads on them, but they still do have enough aggressive tread on them to do what I want to do.
Well, you've been off-road in it now, and you were able to get where you were going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the XJ is a very capable vehicle straight from the factory. It's just nice to have a little extra clearance so that you can follow the guys that do have the extra clearance.
Yeah, and then hopefully, I don't know if Jim's still on there. Like I say, my computer's down right now. By the end of the summer, hopefully, Jim and his wife will be heading up this way, and I've already got it in with another guy. We got in the makings of possibly doing a run when he comes up here.
Yep, Big Jim's still on.
So
I guess
we
they're
got that going for us.
I guess they're going to take the newer of the two Jeep Cherokees.
Well, he's thinking quite possibly trailer queening his up here.
Oh, that's great. I just know his truck was down, so I didn't think he was going to be able to trailer it up.
I told him either that or he could ride with me.
I wonder what the Jim says. Hell no, I'm taking mine. Jim, there's enough time to get your wife's XJ lifted, and you could move the tires over. You know, man, it'd be like driving in luxury.
He just don't want to ride somebody that would show him up.
Well, Dalton, I appreciate the call. We're running out of time. And like I said, I just talk too damn long on the phone. I need to do like the radio stations do. They have a little timer or something going, and I think that they talk to everybody for 2 minutes or 3 minutes and then move on to the next one. It's just, I'm just not professional enough, I guess.
Well, when you talk, when you have a show like this, sometimes 2 or 3 minutes just ain't going to cover anything. No,
I like hearing what's going on with people. It's like on the forums where you guys take pictures of what you're doing. You talk about anything under the sun. So if you guys out there listening like reading about some nonsense and porn, then you need to come over to xjtalk.com and check it out. We have a lot of fun. In fact, we added some old time video games that you can get on there and waste time on, as well as read what's going on in chat. So I put a post up in announcements about that. Check that out. And
one other quick thing.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm still waiting for Wayne to show me a green XJ doing a backflip.
Oh my goodness. That sounds like a hell of a... Oh God, that doesn't sound good. Ugh.
Well, see, it all started from the YouTube post I did last night of Dennis Anderson's son, Adam Anderson, and son of Digger doing the backflip in the monster truck.
Ah, I saw that. That was very impressive. I wonder how many times they practiced that and how many times they broke some fiberglass in the process.
I'm not sure, but he's just as crazy as his daddy is.
Man, that was really something to see. I did not know what was going to happen, and when that thing did the backflip like that, good Lord. Yeah, I think Leisure Suit Larry did wear a green polyester leisure suit. Thank you, Outlaw. I'm going to use that one on the site. Well, Dalton, good luck, and make sure, if you have time, take some pictures of what you're doing there on the lift. We all like seeing pictures and hearing a success story. And if nothing else, make sure you get some before and after pictures.
Oh, I will.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for calling in, and I'll catch you on the site.
Okay.
Well, guys, that's another Jeep Cherokee xjtalk.com show. Sorry the front part of it was a little boring to you. I enjoyed myself, and that's all that really matters to me. Don't forget that we've got lots of... the stickers. We've got some stickers now. I'm going to go be picking up some more stickers this coming Saturday, and that's going to mean that we're going to have some color XJ Talk stickers. If you go to the site, xjtalk.com, and look at the navigation bar, you will see at the very top there is a new item called Store. And that store allows you to donate, subscribe, which helps the running and operation of xjtalk.com, or purchase a sticker. And right now we do have the 6-inch white vinyl standard stickers. And this Saturday we'll have the full color stickers that look much like the XJ Talk logo. So go over to the nav bar on xjtalk.com, click on store, and have a look, and you'll see that that image of the color. And come Saturday, I'll have some actual pictures to show you because I'm going to put some on my Jeep. Thanks, guys. Have a good night, and we'll see you next Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central.
I just wanted to say XJ Talk is the best site in the world, and if you think you know of a better site, you. By the way, this is Big Jim 350.
Hot
Bye.
stuff coming up.